Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. Nowadays I'm exploring the Cessna 172, and in this regard I'm making a series of videos which are available on my channel. I'm actually trying to cover all the topics related to a flight for this plane in all the videos, so it's easy for you to look for a specific information on my channel. Now in this video I'm going to talk about the VOR approach. Before this I've uploaded a video regarding the ILS approach and landing, and plus the RNAV or RNP approach and landing. This is going to be VOR. It's really simple, not that difficult. So now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make a short flight over here, and I will be departing from Sialkot International Airport because it's near Islamabad, and I will be landing at, or rather let me just take this tab out of this holder and let's bring it on the screen. And let me change the orientation. The settings always change. Okay, and let's bring it to medium. Great. Now I will go to Islamabad International Airport. Let me just get rid of this waypoint as I was making a flight plan. So this is the flight plan that I have. Now for the departure, let's select a departure, change procedure. Now I have a departure procedure, and then I can find a route. Let's get rid of this RN and MOXIT. They are not required. So now this is there. Now for the runway, I'm going to actually use VOR. So if I go to this option, change procedure or the approach, you will see different approaches coming for 28 right. You have VOR, RNAV and ILS. So this is the VOR approach that I will be using, and plus I can use BTR as an arrival, but it's coming through Kimmel. Leave it. I'll use ISDO. So this is actually a standard arrival if you're coming from this part of the world. So you enter from ISDO. So I've selected now VOR 28 right, procedure changed, and arrival NDA. And I will also change the procedure, as I know I've been flying this a lot. This is my home, Islamabad. So that's why easy now. So now I will be going to Islamabad International level. I'll change the flight level. I will be flying at 6,000 feet. 60,000. Very good. 6,000 feet. And let's send this route to avionics. You can see it's loaded over here. Now I'm going to do a flight. And when I'm near the top of descent, then I will take you from there. So now I'm near Islamabad International Airport, and you can see that the approach that I've selected, VOR DME, it's coming. When talking about approaches, there are two major bifurcations for the approaches. One is a precision approach, and another one is a non-precision approach. ILS is a precision approach in which the precision is really high. The plane can use the instruments to land. That's why it's known as an instrument landing system, ILS. Then there are non-precision approaches. One is the RNP approach, and another one is the VOR approach. In VOR approach and plus the RNP approach, you should have good runway visual range, which is known as the RVR, because these are non-precise approaches, and you should see the runway. If you cannot see the runway, then you cannot land, because the instruments are taking you towards the runway, and if there is any issue in the GPS or the weather is not really clear, you cannot see the runway. Obviously you will not know either you are properly aligned with the runway or not. So there are a few things that you have to do before you land. First of all, I'll press tab, and I'll get this information for this approach. So let's go to the approaches, runway 28 right, and we have the VOR approach. Let's have a look at it. Now first of all, you have to enter the VOR frequency in the nav. As you can see, this is coming, and the identifier is BTR 114.6. So first of all, let's go here. Just bring your cursor and put it over here. Once you see this hand sign, left click and then right. Now you will see this box has jumped to the upper part for nav 1, and just enter 114.6. So now actually I am tuning into the VOR 114.6, and now you can see that identifier, it has picked it up. Now after ISDO I have to start my descent, because this is the arrival procedure, so we have to keep an eye over here. As you can see, it's shown over here, so that's why we have to keep an eye. Now what I'm going to do is this: I'm just going to press CDI, and plus I'm going to set the course. Just move this knob and adjust to 278 degrees, and I will show you why I'm doing this. Now press CDI again once you see this GPS, and now if you look at the FMA, the plane is out of the GPS mode, so just press nav again to bring it back to GPS. Now as you can see, the heading of the runway is 278 degrees, so this is what you have to consider. And plus the VOR is also at the start of the runway. It's actually not really placed over here, it's in the middle of the two runways, 28 right and 28 left. So that's why they call it the non-precision approach, because if you actually follow the VOR, you're going to land in the middle of the runways. So that's why you should have a good RVR in order to land. And now you can see the beta information is also coming. So in these maps, the LENOVO maps in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, if you want to identify a VOR, it's like this: a circle with a dot in it. Usually in the maps, it's shown as a hexagonal shape with a square around it, which tells you the distance as well, which is known as the DME, or distance measuring equipment. Now you can see plane is coming. After ISDO there is this intermediate fix, and then it's the final fix, 5.4 BTR. This is basically distance is 5.4 nautical miles away. Now what you have to do is this: you have to descend towards the runway after this point, after the final approach fix. And can you see the final approach fix over here in the flight plan? Yes, you can see that. This is coming as BTR 54, final approach fix, which means 5.4 nautical miles before the runway. And this point is 9.3 nautical miles away. The altitude should be 3,700, and from here you will just go towards the runway. So let's wait for this point ISDO, and after this point I will start the descent. And I think there's also a constraint at 5,000 over here. Yes, IV28, this point is coming. So first of all I will go to 5,000 feet and then to 3,700 feet. I will follow this procedure, and then once I'm moving in this heading 278 degrees, then I will be following the approach. Now again, also adjust the heading bug by moving this knob heading. It should also be 278 degrees. That's it. One more thing, you have to adjust the altimeter as well. So just go over here, weather, and get the barometric pressure 1016. Adjust the altimeter. You can use this knob to adjust the altimeter 1016. Right now the units are coming in HPA. If the units are not coming in HPA, you can use them, change them. Go to PFD option, and you will see altitude units. Just click this, and over here you can change the units. So right now it's in HPA 1016. Just go back one more time, and that's it. Now another thing that I can do is this: I can have the the VOR information 114.6 BTR over here on this bearing. So go to PFD option and bearing 1. Let's get this over here. So if right now I just want to fly towards this VOR, I will fly in the heading of 299 degrees. But eventually I will not be following this approach, so that's not a right idea. So let's wait for 278 to appear over here. Then we will turn left. But right now, as I'm flying in the what you call GPS mode, that's why I don't really have to worry about it. If I was flying in the in the heading mode by pressing this option, then I would have been worried about it. Now you see this cyan color over here, arrow. This is actually pointing towards this VOR, as now we have bearing 1, and you have this GPS track. If at this point I want, I can also have ILS on the second nav, but right now I'm not doing it. I'm assuming that this runway doesn't have this ILS. So you will be flying to different airports where you might not find ILS, or even you cannot perform RNAV, then you have to go for VOR. And then, then there are runways, I think they don't have anything. Just kidding. Okay, so another thing, for this Islamabad International Airport, the approach is really good because this VOR is placed at the beginning of this runway, as I've shown you here. But there can be runways where VOR is even located here or located here. So they are not even on the runway or with the runway. They are a bit far. So then there are procedures written for these kind of VORs, how to perform a VOR approach. So for this video, I was just selecting a good runway in which the VOR just right over there. But remember this thing, there is no rocket science in performing a VOR approach. All you have to do is this, just go towards the runway, and once you see the runway, just go for the landing. You cannot use autopilot for the approach to be followed. That's it. So let's wait for it. I'm just keeping an eye over here on the VNAV to see what happens. Altitude, let's move it to 3,700. Yes. Or rather, first I'll descend to 5,000, and then I will go to 3,700 feet. If I cancel and enable, still it says it is coming. Yeah. Well, let's get it back. You can see top of descent is coming, so after this point the descent will start. So let's see if any information changes over here. Otherwise I will just reduce the throttle, bring the speed to 85 knots. As you can see, there's a limit coming. Let's not go below this, otherwise the plane might stall. I can also use the flight level change to descend. Yeah, now you can see IV-28, it's coming. Top of descent in the next 11 seconds. Now plane is turning right. Now I can press VNAV, and you can see V path is coming, and the plane has started to descend. I can further reduce the throttle to keep the speed over here. So that's how you manage the descent. And you can see the target descent rate was 303 feet per minute. And right now, current one is 293 feet per minute. I'm just 8 feet below the vertical path, the calculated path. Let's increase the throttle. The speed is reducing. And the pitch is minus 1.7 degrees. After this turn, I should be able to see the runway. Right now, I've set the weather to clear skies. That's why I will be able to see the runway. But you cannot do VOR approaches if the RVR or the runway visual range is really low. Now, as you can see, these two indicators have started to appear. This is actually coming For the GPS, if I just go back, and if I just remove it, oh, you can see it's still coming. So this is also a good indicator. Yeah, see, it's started to disappear. It has actually disappeared. Yeah. Now further reduce the altitude to 3,700. And let's get into the nav mode, because I just changed the CDI. Now what I'll do is this, I will go with the flight level change. The plane speed will be at 77 knots and it will start to descend. So let's go to 3,700 till the time plane is aligning itself with the flight path. And now here are the runways. Now at this point, instead of now following this GPS flight path, I will just press CDI and I will go into this VOR mode. And now I will use the heading bug to basically adjust the heading and follow it. Now the plane is actually following this VOR, and if you'll just see, the plane is going in the middle of the runways. It's because it's following the VOR. But if you are following any other airport in which the approach based on the VOR is a bit complex, it takes you here and there, different places, then at least you will have this in the flight path, so you will know how to follow it. That approach will automatically be loaded. Then either you can use autopilot to follow this path, or you can just use the heading mode to basically fly it. No, it's not right now. It's in the roll mode, so let's go into the heading mode. This is basically the FMA, flight mode annunciator. Flight level change is active, 77 knots. Now you can see there are no indicators coming, as you see in the ILS approach, and you see it in the RNP approach. So nothing is coming. You have to descend towards the runway based on your piloting skills. Now as you can see, speed is reducing. I can extend the flaps. And plus I can just give some throttle to give some speed. Try to keep the speed at 65. So I can just deactivate the autopilot and then fly the plane myself. So there is one trick that I do while flying the Cessna 172. I keep the runway between these two screws. It's a very good indication. And just keep the runway over here on this panel. Then you will be, nicely following the glide path. This is a good way to land. I think this trick will work for you if you're not using any instruments or autopilot to land. Because as long as you can see the runway, it means you are descending. If you cannot see the runway, either you're going straight or you're going up, obviously like this. So if you're seeing the runway, and if you're just going like this, your descent rate is really high. And this is a good descent rate. So just keep the runway over here, and in between these two screws, and you will be good. No rocket science behind it. So right now, full flaps. Let's check if we have the lights. Landing lights on. Now you will see that there is a little bit of deflection over here in the CDI needle, because as I've told you before, we are just not in front of the runways, somewhere here in the middle of these two runways. Now after the final approach fix, this BTR, it's not showing you the runway because the approach is the BTR. The plane is actually considering BTR to land, the VOR. So that's why no runway coming, but it's 5.4 nautical miles away. Now you can see I can also see the PAPI lights. They're all white, so it means I'm coming at a higher altitude. So maybe what I can do is this, reduce the throttle and just try to pitch down more. So now the PAPI lights will help me with the glide path or the vertical path. Just 500 feet to go. And now 2 red, 2 white, as you can see. So now I'm following it. If all were red, it means I'm at a lower altitude. So I have to pitch up a bit. So that's how you read the PAPI lights. Now this is my target zone. Let's increase the throttle a bit because the speed is dropping. 65 knots, 60 knots, good speed to land this plane. Yeah, now it's good. You can see if the runways between the 2 screws you are aligned with the center line. So it's a good indication. Bring the throttle to idle, pitch up, and that's it. So this is how you perform a VOR approach and landing. I hope this was a useful video for you, and I hope all of the videos that I've uploaded for Cessna 172 were really helpful for you. I will be uploading more videos for Cessna 172, so subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you can get the notifications every time when I upload the video. If you've got any questions, the comment section is there for you, or if you want to add anything to this video, the comment section is there for you. Thank you very much for watching this channel. Have a nice day. Hope to see you soon.